I wanna talk about life, I wanna talk about health. Time to talk about obtaining generational wealth. Yeah, I'm on the grind, success is on my mind. I gotta do it now because there's no better time. It doesn't matter what you really been facing. Keep the faith in all your dreams you've been chasing. Because of her, you have your number one supporter. Stop what you're doing and tune into Juice's Corner.
All right, and welcome to the second episode of the Juicy's Corner Show. And of course, we have real conversations here, and I'm your chocolate caramel host, TopCarter CL, here this evening.
No, you did.
Yeah.
And just want to make sure y'all like and subscribe down at the bottom. And this episode is going to be incredible because we have none other than, to my left, I want her to explain herself or just go ahead and introduce herself because she does it like none other.
Well, hey, everybody. I'm here, Miss Juicy, and my name speaks for itself. I give that juicy content. That's all you need to know for now.
Yes. And to the left of her.
All right, it's your boy Shawn Kel back in the building for some more hot topics.
And on your far right, way over here, got the young but yet wise Sensei Tre.
All right. So we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do hot topics. What would you do?
All right, so let's get right into it. Hot topics. What would you do? Let's talk about it. So today I'm going to give y'all a scenario. All right, and y'all let me know what you would do. So let's say you've been on a date with somebody for maybe 1, 2, let's say 3 days. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You've been on 3 dates with this person. You're dropping them off. You bring them to the door. All of a sudden, somebody pops out, right? Let's say this guy pops out and he's like, yo, what you doing? Who is this? And he just starts getting very aggressive. How would y'all handle that situation? What would y'all do?
Who wants
And
to
for Juicy, of course.
I gotta ask, is it personal experience?
Let's not even get into that. Let's just...
Well, I will say this. I don't date women, so it can go both ways. You know, we could be on a date and another female pops out. So it can go both ways. But for me, if I was in that situation, I wouldn't jump into getting involved because I need to know what was going on to lead up to this. You know, because think back about the date. Was he on his phone a lot? Because he could have been communicating with this chick before we even got back to the destination where we need to be. So he could have already known that this girl was going to be there and waiting. So I'm just going to sit back and say, hey, this has nothing to do with me. I'm going to let y'all handle y'all business.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be my last date with him, pretty much.
Well, let me say this. Let me add something to it, right? Let's say that you bring her to the door and, you know, she's about to go in. This guy pops out, right? He says, who is this? What's going on? And he slaps her. Then what? What's going on? What y'all going to do, fellas?
So in my case, he slaps her in front of me.
Yes.
I'm the type that's gonna think about, what's going on because I do have a son to think about too. And when it comes to that, it really depends on the situation because things do happen very fast. When things happen, and sometimes you don't think. So it could go either way with me. It could be like you said, if it was 3 days, and I feel like that's a nice young lady, this and that. But in 3 days, how can you judge that person or know who that person is when it comes to the character? So, it could go either way, So I could, end up being in that altercation, or I could kind of make a judgment decision and be like, hey, this is not my.
What do you mean
spot.
by go either way? Like, you talking about getting physical? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I'm always the type that always like to think before I do anything like that. Because I feel like you can always think about or just talk through certain things.
Right.
It's not that big of a deal to get physical in every situation. And nowadays, you don't know if that person has a gun, a knife, anything like that.
Facts.
And before I put myself in a compromised position where I'm not coming back home to my family, you know, there's certain things you got to think about whenever stuff like that happens.
Because I mean, if we being real, in the world that we live in now, we've seen these scenarios where something like that happens, and the first comment that I usually see is, "Look at all those men just sitting there. Look at all those men just not doing nothing." So it seems like there's like this worldwide expectation that we're supposed to jump in and defend a woman's honor, even when we don't know this woman or we just met this person. Like we're just supposed to jump to action and do something about it. So Sensei Tre, what you doing down there? What would you do?
So I'm listening first though. I'm soaking up all what y'all saying. And, you know, in that situation, I believe pretty similar to what my man TopCarter was saying. You do have to think about it, but also in the heat of the moment, you know, the way you react might be different from the way you think you would react, right? Now, you said this is a person that you've gone on a date or two, maybe three.
Three dates.
So
3 dates.
you may have gotten to know them a little bit, you know, via text or calling them in between there. So you might know a little bit of their background. Obviously, not
That's
too in depth.
easy.
But even with that being said, you know, you dropping somebody off at their house and some random person, no matter if it's a male, female, whatever, jumps out and attacks them.
Yeah.
You know, for me at least, first reaction is going to be like, at least step in and figure out what's going on. Because again, this is somebody that you're potentially trying to talk to anyway. And I assume that if you've gone on a second or third date with them, you're at least interested. This ain't the first date. Now, as far as, am I going to like go, you know, Macho Man Randy Savage and try to like elbow drop somebody? I don't know about all that. But, you know, I at least will like step in and find out what's going on. And again, you know, that can be something simple as, like you said, like verbal, or if it's really a bad situation where like, okay, that person's really in danger, then at that point, yeah, you kind of would think about at least stepping in to stop that from happening. But again, this is a random person. You don't know if they got a gun, a knife, or what's going on.
About
with
to
that.
say. I don't know if we the same, because I'll tell you right now, I want a woman's perspective. So we're going to get to you, Juicy, because I want to get your perspective on this. But before you do, I would just like to say, that's not my business. But
I'm
going to head out.
It is, because you're there with that person.
No, because here's my thing. Here's my reasoning, right? So this person literally, this is our third date. And we pull up to your house, apartment, whatever. And this man comes out, and it's very obvious that he knows you because he's calling you by your name. You know,
okay, those are important details, though.
Yeah, but I mean, you can put two and two together, because if he pops out, and he says, "Who is this?" and stuff. No, you're not going to randomly do that to a female you don't have any dealings with. So something is telling me that I'm getting played in this situation, because how is she going out on dates with me, and this random guy's just going to pop up out of nowhere? Nah, something ain't right. She didn't end whatever she had before I got in the picture.
I'm gonna give you a scenario on top of a scenario.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The person you're dating or trying to get to know,
right,
happens to be, let's say, whether she's a nurse or you know, I don't want to say a psychiatrist or anything, but something along those lines, right? And she does deal with some mentally ill people. And this random person that popped out, maybe somebody that was infatuated with her and she didn't know.
Like a patient?
Yeah.
Leave her alone.
I'm saying you wouldn't. She didn't know.
I'm just gonna tell you, like, listen.
So you're
we only been on 3 dates. I don't really know you that well. I didn't put a ring on you. You're not my wife. We're not in a committed situation. I don't deal with mental. Nah, I'm good. Because mentally ill is even worse. Like, he might be ready to chop both of us up.
That's
Put
true.
us in some body bags. I ain't
run.
Like, I'm gone. I'm like, well, you need to handle your patients better. Or, I don't know. I got to get about
Like, how do they know where you live at? You know,
like, all of this information is very strange. The whole situation, this is a third date, is very strange. So I'm going to head out. But, you know, I wish you the best for real, you know?
How you gonna wish her the best and you left her there to get beat up?
I'm gonna call the cops when I get in the car. I'm gonna call 911 when I get in the car just to help her out.
Only altercation I'm gonna have, dial 911 and I'm out of here.
Say, ma'am, didn't you place the call? Where you
at? Ping my location. But me, from a woman's perspective, if I was that woman, first of all, things happen like that when you don't close this door. you still have a door open, and you still opening more doors. If I knew I was in a relationship with somebody that was like that, I would do what I need to do to protect myself. And if I met somebody that I was interested in, I would make sure that I don't involve him in something that I already had. So
Yeah.
first of all, if I know the guy is not in his right mind, I'm gonna get that 50B out of him. Okay. I'm gonna do what I have to do before I open up another door for another man that I might like and miss out on because I have cray cray still coming after me.
Yeah.
So it's about the individual. No, I wouldn't want nobody to get hurt behind something I had going on before I met them. So I would feel like the right thing for a young lady to do was get that 50B.
Mm-hmm.
Protect yourself. Don't involve anybody in something that they had nothing to do with. They could like you, they could really be interested in you, but you can lose out on them by having stuff like that happen. A real man don't want them problems. A real man is not trying to bring you home on a date and then some person jumping out of a bushes or something because I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
You know, we all been in some crazy relationships, but honestly, in these times, sometimes you react before thinking, but you got to be careful these days. People are not like they used to be.
Yeah.
You know, people will snap on you just by looking at them. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't speak for none of y'all. I am not gonna involve myself in something I don't have no background on.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm fighting this chick over him. Then next week, I'm wondering why he ain't answering my calls. He on Facebook with him and her. Nah,
Yep.
I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good. No, it's too many decent people out there that I can spend my time with and trying to fix something that can't be fixed. So I just
Mhm.
feel like if I was in y'all shoes, run.
Yep.
Run.
Look, we on the same page. I don't know
Run.
what they got going on. He contemplating and he talking about the scenario and
Run.
man, I'm gone. I ain't got time to
Oh,
think about
boy.
none of that. I'm getting in the car and I'm heading out.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Juicy, on the fact of, people need to get their stuff in order before they move on to the next thing. Because a lot of people, they just jump from one thing to the next and the next. And, you still carry around your dirty laundry with you. It's like, no, like, you need to get
Absolutely.
that taken care of before you try to get involved with somebody else in another situation. And unfortunately, with, the dating culture that we're in now, you're fortunate you married, so you don't have to deal with that. But
Dang.
with the dating culture that we're in now,
Yas.
I'm trying to get there. But
Yeah.
with the dating culture that we're in now, a lot of people, they'll tell you just enough or what they want you to know for now. They're not really willing to divulge all that information right up front. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, the longer you know somebody, the more you're going to find out about them, right? But in an ideal world, people would just be upfront with each other and open and honest, right? That way, you as an individual can choose, okay, I'm either all right with this and we can move forward and see where it goes, or I'm going to just move on to the next thing. And you got to be honest with yourself, too, and do that with other people.
Well, you would have probably took it better if she said, listen, I just got out of a bad relationship and I'm trying to get things in control. But right now, I like you. But how about we date and just not come to my house? If
Right.
they were straight
Yeah.
up and honest and
Yep.
just say, hey,
Yeah.
I don't have things in control right now, but I'm working on them. I really like you, but right now, I don't want to bring you to my house because he has popped up. He has been calling. He's just been doing some crazy stuff. And you could accept that better.
Yep. Because you were upfront with me. And you let me know from the beginning, so I already knew what I was getting into when I decided to be in that relationship with you. That is why it's important to have open communication and lay everything on the table. And I prefer to do that in the first few dates because now we know all the bad stuff, right? So now we can move forward and create the good stuff. But if you are dating me and you're surprising me with all this crazy stuff happening, I'm gonna be looking around like, what the heck going on?
What's wrong with
like,
you?
Yeah, what's wrong with
Run.
you? Like, I'm good,
You
bro.
said you like things interesting.
That's not interesting. That's deadly.
No, you put me
That's
in
a total
danger.
difference. That's deadly. No,
Yes,
I'm good.
yes.
Nah, people have died for less. And like you said you have a child to live for. I ain't got no kids, but I got something to live for. Or I'm gonna find something. 'Cause I'm getting about it.
Absolutely.
So I'm good.
And then if the woman
Oh yeah.
likes you enough, me going on a date 3 times, that don't mean nothing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can know people longer than that and still don't know them. So 3 dates, that don't mean I'm interested in you at all. I'm just gonna keep it 100. That don't mean I'm interested because you got me on the 3rd date. But if people just be more honest, because going back, Trey, what you was talking about, people will have masks on because we give people too much power. And what I mean by that is when we first meeting people, these first 2, 3, 4 dates, we letting the person know what we want in the person. So we done gave that person power to be what we want them to be because we done told them everything. You know what I'm saying? So in 3 days, you thinking you met, oh God, I met the person of my life. Not actually, you didn't. You told a person everything you wanted, so they get ready to play this role. And then 3 months later, you find out that ain't nothing what you thought you had. She be the one jumping out the bushes. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be mindful and careful, even when we meeting somebody, how much we do tell. Are we telling the right things?
Yeah.
Are we speaking on the wrong things? You know, I don't want to tell you about what I want in a man. It should come about that as we get to know each other.
Yeah.
You know? But when you tell a woman, oh, I love a woman who handle her business, who cook, who take care of herself, she's trying to snatch you. So she's gonna cook, she's gonna keep a clean house, she's gonna take care of herself. Then when she knows she got you, you coming home, you don't smell no greens cooking, the house nasty. You acting like, where is you at? The wigs off, the makeup off.
man.
You see what I'm saying? So sometimes we set our own selves up by letting the person know what we want too soon.
Yeah.
And that's how we fall in love or catch feelings with somebody too soon because we done gave them the power to tell them everything we wanted.
Yeah, you gotta let them reveal who they are
Right.
as you go on with the dating process. Because like you said, if you tell them ahead of time, they're gonna perform. It's not gonna be real.
Yeah.
Like if a girl tell me exactly what she want and I want her that much, oh, I'm gonna be that. You know what I'm saying?
That
But it's
part.
not gonna last forever though.
Think you swing ding ding
Right.
ling, and then all of a sudden you limp. Say it. You've been popping them blue pills because you know I done told you I'm a beast and you want to be my beast. Then 2 months later you limping limp, you know, because them pills about took you out of here. You can't take them no more. So we have to be careful what we reveal to folks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just
Absolutely.
Getting hot up in here.
I'm just saying. I'm telling you, it's the truth.
Man,
You know, when you thought you met your dreams, and I'll be honest, nobody's perfect. Y'all, we not finna get that perfect person. We not finna get that person that's in the bedroom 100. We not finna get that person who's in the home 100. Somewhere is not gonna be that perfect.
Yeah.
So we got to stop thinking, oh, I finally met the person of my dreams. No, because 10, 9, she's gonna be that, or he gonna be that person, but they got one flaw. I haven't met the perfect person. I'm married, happily married, but my husband is not the perfect person. Only one person is perfect to me, and that's God. So nobody else can top him. So nobody on this earth is perfect, and we got to stop putting people in situations thinking that they are perfect or have them in a position to want to be perfect for us.
Yeah.
Because nobody's perfect.
Yeah, and that's, kind of comes back to managing expectations for one, but then two, don't set yourself up to fail either. Because
Absolutely.
like you said, you go in here all high octane trying to do all this and that and third, and you can't maintain that, moving forward. You ain't got nobody to blame but yourself.
Right? You can't be having mama cooking them meals for you and you acting like you cooking them. And then when he get you by yourself, you can't have mama sneaking them meals over, then he gonna find out you can't cook. So you gotta be yourself. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be yourself and say, hey, I don't know how to cook, but I'm willing to learn if that's what you like. You know what I'm saying? He say, look, I don't like wigs and stuff. I like your natural hair. Well, wigs are easier for me, but I might try my natural if you're gonna keep it up. It gotta be a team thing in anything that you ask for somebody. You can't ask for somebody to do something, but you're not willing to meet them halfway to keep it up for you. You know, if I like my wigs, I like my wigs. But are you gonna afford those hairdos that you like so much? You can't expect somebody to change for you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless you're willing to play a part and say, okay, I don't like makeup. I don't like all that makeup. You know what I'm saying? I want to see who I'm going to bed with when I wake up. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I can tone it down. I like lip gloss. Do you like lip gloss, baby? Okay, I keep the lip gloss. But I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to stop all my wigs. 'Cause y'all juicy little wigs, honey. I might have pink or purple, you name it. I'm going to wear mine. And my husband have a problem, doesn't have a problem with them. But how I do with him, I let him pick out the ones he like on me. Because I like some wigs. He like, baby, that ain't it. And you know, and I respect that because I'm his wife. You know, he prefer my hair because I have some beautiful hair, but natural hair is hard to manage. And it's expensive to manage. So sometimes I braid it up and throw in the wig. But do he like all my wigs? No. But what I do is, hey, baby, I'm looking at this wig. Do you like it? I get his input. So I buy the ones that I like, but he also like as well. So that's how we meeting halfway with that, where he's not completely stopping me from what I'm doing, but I'm also giving him what he likes, and I'm continuing to do what I like as well.
Yeah.
Nice
These are the conversations
compromise.
you got to
Yes.
have at the beginning of the
Yes.
relationship too.
Absolutely.
Like, don't wait till y'all married and say I do, and then start saying I like this and this and this,
Right.
because it's not gonna work. So do
Right.
it at the beginning. Matter of fact, do it in the first month of dating. I feel like.
So that's the thing though, because y'all were just saying some things need to naturally come about,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
but when it comes to me, I like to get things out like
At the beginning.
within 2 or 3 months or so.
Yeah.
That's
you know
not
what
that's
I mean?
not bad.
Nothing wrong with that.
So
Yeah.
if I'm asking you questions and stuff, and you having a problem answering them in 3 months, you know, and we kind of knowing each other,
Run.
then it's
Facts.
so it's like one of them type things where it's like, do I
Yeah.
gotta wait till how long? You know, until I know certain
Nah,
things that
Nah.
you know make
And you got to
it us
trust
over.
your like that feeling. I don't know how to describe. Y'all ever had that feeling?
Butterflies.
Yeah.
Like the butterflies in your
Yeah,
stomach.
like you
Ooh.
can feel when this is like, nah. Like if you at the beginning of the relationship and you not getting all these things revealed to you, and you see there's hesitation, and you see there's like restraint in these conversations,
Yeah.
that's enough for you to be like, all right, this is not going to work, but I do wish you the best, and then you just keep dating until you find somebody compatible. I don't know why people be trying to hold on to stuff that ain't working. Like, we can pretty much tell when things ain't working at the beginning, but people want to hold on, and I don't get that. Like, the person don't look that good. I'm sure you can find somebody else that look better.
So on the flip side of that, you know, I'm gonna say also just make sure that you're not making up scenarios in your head either, because sometimes people can lose out on situations where, let's say you met somebody, things going well, and then all of a sudden you start thinking this, that, or the third about like, okay, well, why aren't they doing this right now? Why isn't, how come this or how come that? You know, I've seen that many times. I've had it happen to me, you know, where people, like, for example, like with me and my brother, you know, we dated folks and got females who just all of a sudden, because of the fact that things are going so well with certain things, then that in itself is kind of a red flag. It's like, that doesn't really make sense. Like, you're creating something here that's not really happening. You know,
That's some personal issues.
yeah.
Who wouldn't want a good man?
Yeah. But I've seen it a lot, unfortunately, amongst females more than I've seen it amongst men. But I'm just saying, like, you know, don't self-sabotage when it comes down to you know, your dating or your relationship.
And it comes from past
Yeah.
things. Women, I'm gonna speak on the women view. I can't speak on y'all's, but a woman, we have a bad place of holding on to things that the man did before you. And we bring all that baggage to the man who didn't have nothing to do with it. Just because a man could do something, oh, you remind me of him. You know, and you're right. We self-sabotage because we hold on to that hurt and pain. With me, anytime I broke up with somebody, I had to take time for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it depends on how that relationship went. If that man broke my spirit, because I'm just gonna keep it 100, all my relationships were not perfect. I had some relationship. My worst relationship was when I had to find who I was again because he took all that from me.
Mm.
And I had to take time for myself because if I didn't take time for myself to find out who Juicy was again, I wouldn't be the good wife that I am now to my husband because I would have took all that baggage and put it on him when he didn't have anything to do with that. I mean, that man took my self-respect. I would walk around with my head down. I couldn't even look at the person in the mirror because he made me feel like the person in the mirror was not worthy of life.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we hold on to that hurt and pain to where we don't know how to deal with it. We hold it in, and then when God brings us that person for us, we mess it up because we didn't allow that hurt and pain
To
to
heal.
to let go, to deal with it. You know, I screamed, I cried. I was celibate for 5 years because he didn't only take my self-worth, he did things to me that only me and God would know. That's how bad that relationship was. So sometimes we just hold on to all that hurt and pain, and then when we get a good guy, we don't know how to take it because we used to somebody mistreating us. So it's
Mhm.
not like that, oh no, you're not doing what I want in a man. This is too good to be true. I'm not used to this. So what do? I sabotage it. Instead of embracing what I have, I push a good thing away. And
Mhm.
then if I
Yeah.
don't seek the help that I need to get over that hurt and pain, I'm gonna be a domino effect. Every good man that come along, I'm gonna push him away because I'm used to that hurt and pain.
Yeah.
But I don't see how, like, okay, what you said when you broke up with that man, you did a 5-year celibacy,
Mhm.
right? Most women are not willing to do that and take that self-work time to really work on themselves and rediscover themselves. A lot of the females female friends that I've talked to, they will go from one bad relationship to the next one because they have this thing where they just can't be alone. And even when they say, "Oh, I'm done, I'm gonna take a break," next month they in a new relationship. So it's like that's my only thing. Like I notice with women a lot, and some guys too, that they will say that they're sick and tired of these toxic relationships, but every time you see them, they have to be in a relationship. So if one doesn't work out, they're in the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and just the baggage just piles on to the point where it'll take a lifetime to get rid of it. They just damaged, and that's that. So do you think you could reach a point where somebody can be so damaged that there's nothing you could do?
Yes. Before I found who I was again, I became the person that was doing the hurt to me. I became the person that wanted to hurt. When I was going through that 5 year, I wanted to be the destroyer. You know, I I I wanted to change the role. Like, I was so hurt and damaged, like you had a good woman, but you had all these different women you was cheating on me with.
Yeah.
So I always kept a backup. Like the men say, or what you won't do, somebody else will do.
What do they call it, a roster now?
I don't know what they
You got the
but
roster.
I got
Roster.
mean. I remember my mother and grandma was like, they had a lot of people ready to whoop my behind. That's how mean I was. I had high standards. I wouldn't date men with daughters. I wouldn't date men with kids. I wouldn't date men. If you had children, they had to be a certain age. If they was under one, nah, because you got baby mama drama. I mean, that's how I was. I mean, my mindset was like, I'm gonna hurt you before you hurt me. And I went through that first year after getting out that relationship. So people knew me, knew I was a good woman, but I was just so mean. I was just so hateful. I would have people calling my mother, like, what has happened to her? What is wrong with her? Good men that wanted to deal with me. And I was just mean and hateful. Hey, my air cost, because I was so hurt so much that if I wasn't getting, no, you ain't finna be in my face. I had a snack man. I had a weather man. You had to be feeding me something. That's how bad I got. Then one day I was like, God, I don't want to be like this no more. I became the abuser. I became the person that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I became the person who didn't care about nobody's feelings. And I was like, God, I don't want to be this way anymore because I'm going to miss out on what you have for me. And so I said, okay, I need to just let go of everything. I need to focus on me. So I just stopped. I just went cold turkey and said, I need to find out who I am because the person that I become, I didn't like that person. Because the same way I didn't like being hurt, I was doing the hurt. And so I'm like, how can I say I've been through something when I'm doing the same thing to people just how I got done? So I had to take time, and during that 5 years, that's how I found myself. But if people are tired and really want it to happen, it'll happen. But when you jump from one relationship to the next, you got this low self-esteem. You looking for somebody to make you feel worthy. Because you can't feel worthy, hurt, and jumping from the next man to the next woman to the next man to the next woman. So there is something within them that they want somebody else to help them with. Because if you tired, you're going to be tired.
Right.
Yep.
Somebody need
Facts.
to zoom into the screen and
Yeah.
replay that for themselves one good time.
I know that's right.
Hey,
Yeah, zoom in.
speaking of hurt and pain, there are certain individuals as well as certain masses that are dealing with some hurt and pain right now.
Oh, what's that?
So obviously, as you guys know, the other weekend, Super Bowl, was going on,
That's one right there.
and certain whether you want to call it performances or protests or whatever you want to have
Rumors.
took place during the Super Bowl, and yeah, so there are some folks who feel some type of way about it. And to my understanding, you say you still haven't watched it, right?
Yeah, I still haven't watched the Super Bowl. Don't
Not
hate
not
me.
the whole Super, just the halftime
The
show.
halftime,
Yeah,
I
just
didn't watch none
halftime.
of it. Don't hate me too much in the comment section. But listen, I just be tuned out. I don't be watching award shows, ceremonies, none of that. So I ain't seen it.
Yeah, it's all right, y'all.
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah.
forgive him. He's a new Panthers fan, so he'll.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see the game. I just tuned in for the halftime show because I'm not a Eagles or a Chiefs fan. I just wanted to see the halftime show because I was hearing a
Sounds
lot of
smart.
rumors.
Talk about it.
Mhm.
I was hearing a lot of
Yeah.
rumors about this, and it's crazy, y'all, because I heard of Kendrick, but I really never listened to his stuff. Now I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. Bang. I really never cared for Drake. I always thought Drake was a wuss. I'm just sorry. I just never cared for him. I always thought he was a womanizer. you know.
Always.
Yes, I always thought he was a womanizer. When he first came out, I just thought he was a womanizer. You know how? I'm not even gonna say that because I don't have nothing against light skinned people, but some of them light skinned men can be very, very arrogant. Not you, brother, not you.
Uh-oh.
Not
But-
you, brother.
Wow.
But I just thought he was arrogant, and I felt like he was just a womanizer. It was all about, And then, no disrespect to my young folks who like this chick, but when he collaborated with Sexy Red, I knew I didn't like him for a reason, because
Yeah.
she's not a good role model for our young girls. And so I was like, how Drake put himself high standards, and you supposed to be the people's person, nah.
Well, that was part of the issue right there. Why, when and how did he become the people's person?
He never was.
He was wheelchair Jimmy. That's the only
He
thing I
never
remember.
was.
Well, see,
That was-
Like, I don't
okay.
That's the rumors.
understand.
He say, she say, but people
Like, who
looked up
made
to Drake.
him the face of and then okay, go ahead, somebody else.
So, all right. Your perspective and my perspective are very different as far as who Drake has been as a person. I agree with you, Juicy, for the most part. But when you came up, obviously, that was a different era of Drake, probably. With the Drake that I remember, I know he was on Degrassi or whatever. I never watched that show. But
Oh, the show was
Yeah, me
good, bro.
neither.
You should
for
have watched
me,
it.
Yeah.
I just remember Drake mainly when Wayne introduced Drake. You know what I'm saying? And back then, oh yeah, he had bars and everything. You know what I'm saying? He was hungry still. But then after he got some of that, that fame and that popularity and started gaining traction, then that generation that was growing up during that time, he just really monopolized the music scene and ended up like anything and everything that he was putting out. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if it was good or not, or half-hearted, or and they just played it just because it was him.
I mean, I'm not hating on him but I feel like if you watch him on Degrassi, you knew like his character was literally this young teen who wanted to be a rapper, and he was always making songs and stuff. So it's kind of interesting how like he played the character as a teen or whatever of a kid who wanted to be a rapper, and then after the show he became an actual rapper. But I feel like he was ushered in. And maybe, I don't know,
Definitely.
maybe they watched the show and they saw him and they heard something that they liked, and so they made it happen in real life. But it's just like, who made him the people's people? Like, a lot of times it seems like he's marketed as like black folks person.
I'm
Like,
from
even,
Canada.
I'm not really into all that. Because even with the Afro, remember his albums with like the Afro puff and all this stuff? Like, I just think all of it is just stupid.
Okay.
Like, he not that good.
So
Like, he
so,
cool, but he not that great.
Not at all.
So check this. Going back to the origins, right? Think about what I was saying about how Wayne kind of introduced him. Well, at that time, Wayne was at the pinnacle of his career. Like Cash Money, all those people. He had Nicki on the roster and quite a few other people that he gained over time. But so anybody like that propels your career, and then not only propels you individually, but starts attaching you to those other artists that are now also seen as like some of the greater,
Pillars.
the
in
pillars of the rap game and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, naturally, you are gonna get put on a pedestal, and I do feel like, to your point, he probably has had some connections outside of that. People who've helped to manufacture the I guess the overall illusion of what he represents to the community and everything like that. Because again, like I said, that whole generation of people that were coming up that were still young at the time, well, now that's who they see as a role model, right? And he's capitalizing on all of that. And now those people who were younger are grown folk. You know what I'm
Whose
saying?
generation are we talking about? I
It's
need
still
to clarify.
supporting.
Because I think I was in like middle school when he came out. Whose generation? Like, who are we talking about? Because I'm a little confused.
I just feel
I thought
like-
he was kind of my generation.
He
I
is
mean-
kind of your
Oh,
generation.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he is
All right.
kind of
I
your
was trying
generation.
to figure it out. All
When
right.
it comes to Drake, I wouldn't classify him as like the people's person. I would say
Nah.
he's like the popular.
The
like
popular
pop.
vote.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm
popular.
still lost.
You know,
Yeah.
so when it comes to like, you know, like the people, like I would say like, and like a female popular would be like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when it
Please.
comes to
Please.
no, when it comes to
Please. Don't
the
talk about Taylor
peoples,
Swift.
I would say something like Beyonce or Rihanna or something like that.
Riri, the my
So
girl.
it's like certain levels when it comes to certain things. And my brother, he's been in, you know, doing hip hop, rap, you know, battle rap for a while, and he kind of classified things where it was like when it comes to like just an artist in general, like a rap artist, it's like there's three or four categories, you know, that you gotta or boxes you have to check, you know. So you gotta be able to make good songs. You gotta
Mhm.
be able to freestyle. You know, you gotta be able to, you know, battle rap, you know, or do things like that. You know, but if there's somebody that just make good songs but don't do the other two things, then there's only a certain a certain amount of access
Is that
you can
Drake?
get.
Because he don't write his own songs, do
Yeah,
it?
so that's the thing. So
Okay.
Drake and Kendrick, you know, Kendrick checked more of them boxes than
Mhm.
Drake did.
And let me clarify
You
something.
know, so
Yeah. I don't like Kendrick just because of the Super Bowl. I learned more about him because of the Super Bowl halftime, but I went back and did my history on
Research,
him,
that
my research.
message.
Everybody know Miss Juicy. I already know I'm a Tupac fan, baby. Die hard Tupac fan.
Yeah.
And Tupac was like a poet.
Right.
And that's what Kendrick reminds me of.
That
When I
message,
go back
man.
and listen to his music, I actually went back and listened to some of his music, and it's deep. And you know, and that's why I was just crazy about Tupac, because Tupac was deep. And so go back and listen to some of Drake's stuff. Don't get me wrong, I never cared for Drake, but he had some hot stuff out there. You know, I'm gonna give him his props. But Kendrick is on a different level. And what I like about Kendrick is, and he remind me of Pac, is they make you think. And a lot of people don't like thinking.
Mm.
You know, they just want stuff presented out there. See, for me, for the halftime show, everybody wanted some booty shaking
Yep.
and hip hugging, and they basically they wanted to be entertained
Right.
Mhm.
by our culture, our music. They want to be entertained by our music. But see, Kendrick Lamar turned the table. He didn't entertain us. He gave us a message.
Yeah.
So he allowed people to think. And see, people don't like thinking. They get upset. They get mad. I ain't watched the Super Bowl to be thinking. I ain't in school. I came here to bop, move. But see, but when entertainment becomes our educator,
Yep.
it becomes a problem.
They got a problem with that.
It becomes a
They
problem.
want you to just shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, wobble
Facts.
up.
There
Wobble
you
up.
go.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But like Kendrick said, wait a minute, pickaboos.
Facts.
I ain't here to entertain you. I'm wobbling up and I'm here to show you some things.
right.
And people didn't like that.
Yeah. Well, it's just amazing to me on both sides, both us and those of us who, you know, aren't familiar with our culture. Just the ignorance, because, okay, like I've talked to some people about, you know, obviously after the Super Bowl and stuff like that. There are some people who still were like, you know, I get what he's trying to do. I didn't really like still rock with it. But aside from all of that, like, you know, it's just interesting because, like you said, some people don't know. They don't know the history. They don't know the culture. They don't even recognize the fact of, like you said, we've gotten so groomed to where now we expect to see like the, you know, booty shaking and you know,
Sexy
all this
red.
other stuff. And
You
that's
Sexy
supposed
Red.
to
Look, y'all gonna have to duke it out.
that's supposed to actually, you know, I guess satisfy the entertainment purposes, right? When really, you know, that's not really entertainment. You can get on Instagram, see somebody shaking their booty. They ain't, you know, nothing special. Like, ain't no real choreography, no real talent anymore. Like, I literally hear songs now with people singing off or rapping off key, and I'm like, this is on the radio. Like,
Yep,
what's going on right now?
Blueface.
And it makes no sense. And y'all can say this is artistic, you know, freedom to blah blah. No, they are not talented. That's what that is. But they're making money because they have a niche following.
Yeah.
And so when it came down to the Super Bowl performance as well, the other part of the ignorance is it's kind of like so you got people who say the one thing, right? But then you have other people who want to say, oh well, we don't even know who this person is. What do you mean? Like, okay, just because you don't listen to this kind of music, now all of a sudden that's an issue, and you think that nobody knows who he is because you don't listen to. Well, you know what you need to do? Like what Juicy said, do your research. Who is this person? Because they've been advertising all the way leading up to the Super Bowl who this person was. Not only that, but this person actually just won some Grammys right before the Super Bowl, so he's got to be pretty popular, right? And if you do your research, you'll actually see that, oh, his hit from this year, has been on the top of the billboards. Like,
skyrocketed
and
now.
then you go back and you look at his other stuff, you see he's been actually active in rap for 10 plus years, right? So it's just so much ignorance all around, and it's just it just blows my mind. Whether you agree with the message that he was presenting and if it was the right time or the right place to present it is irrelevant in some aspects,
If you really paid attention to his Super Bowl, he pretty much told you what he was getting ready to do, and he pretty much told you what was going to happen.
Yeah.
He already said some people wasn't going to get it,
Mhm.
and then he said you got the right man.
The wrong time.
Right. So he was going to tell you he was getting ready to make a statement. But this what gets me. Just because certain people don't know or heard of something, that mean you entitled that we all supposed to feel that way?
Mm-hmm.
That just because you don't know this person, but didn't he get an award that nobody has ever gotten rap?
The Pulitzer Prizes, which
Okay.
is for writing.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that tells you he's a poet. You see what I'm saying? And even when I was watching the Super Bowl and I did go crazy when that song came on, It's Not Like Us, this is my perspective of it. When that song is presented, it's just not for only a particular race.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. It's just not only for certain people,
Yeah, that's the mindset.
white people. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't feel like that's what it stands for. I feel like it's for anyone who do not understand or get where we are in these times.
Yep.
What he did for that Super Bowl, he put messages out there like, look, y'all, this is serious. We need to stop playing and come together. You know what I'm saying? We need to stop playing and come together. I mean, from when he did the prison yard on there.
Yeah.
And then if you're not in the anime and you're not into television like me, the Squid Games are high power people who uses people who are not on their level, low in their life, going through things, and play games with them.
Talk about it.
Play games.
Take advantage.
And I'm talking about like when you play the Nintendo, the PlayStation, and you lose. That's what they're doing with lives. That's what that message was on Super Bowl. You got rich, entitled people playing with people's lives. Like it's nothing.
Yeah, some people were saying that he set it up like, what did you say, the Squid Games?
Yes.
It was,
Because
yeah.
I only saw clips, but some people say he set it up like the Squid Games to show people
we
that
got
like,
to show him the halftime show, bro.
oh me, oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, he basically made it like the Squid Games to basically show people that like being in America and trying to achieve the American dream is also like one big game.
Yeah, let's look at this clip right here. Pretty much what I like about this clip is you have a Caucasian man putting another Caucasian man in his place about the ignorance of what he didn't see in the Super Bowl. And he pretty much summed it up. So we're going to watch this.
Last night, the NFL gave us unquestionably the worst halftime show we have ever seen.
You guys see this news anchor, Rob Schmidt, who said that the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime show was the worst one ever? Rob, you're aging yourself. What, you don't remember the 1991 Super Bowl halftime show featuring the New Kids on the Block?
Talk about music first. Look at this. What they doing?
Now, that was terrible. No, it feels like this is about something else, Rob. What could it be?
A tiny rapper in bell bottoms who 98% of the country
I
has
like bell
never
bottoms,
heard
and I
of.
rock 'em.
What's the matter with bell bottoms? Lady Wilson wears bell
rock my
bottoms.
bell
Are you
bottoms.
mocking her? And the fact that you've never heard of him, I mean, the Grammy folks have heard of him because he's won 22 of those. The Emmy folks have heard of him because he's won an Emmy too. And in fact, the Pulitzer Prize folks have heard of him because he's won a Pulitzer Prize as well. What have you won, Rob? No, it feels like this is really about something else.
Was allowed to play most of his largely unknown catalog for 20 grueling minutes in front of the entire world.
It was actually just 13 minutes, but maybe you were told there'd be no math. Rob, what are you getting at?
The whole world just sat and wondered why they were watching this. Who is this? Everybody asked.
Maybe the world's greatest tennis player ever, Serena Williams, knew when she danced up there on stage with him. The Grammy people knew when they gave him 7 awards just a week or so ago. No, Rob, this feels like it's about something else.
No matter where you were, nobody had a clue what this was, except maybe 0.5% of the people in this country alone.
I mean, he sold 18 million albums. Several have gone platinum, 5 number ones. And in fact, streams of Not Like Us are up about 430% since the Super Bowl. Rob, what's your real issue?
And for a league so obsessed with diversity as the NFL is, maybe you noticed last night's halftime show was the first ever that we can recall that was fully monochromatic as far as race.
Have you seen some of the halftime shows from Super Bowls past? I mean, they were plenty monochromatic, but there's got to be some reason why you didn't notice back then. You know what, though? I get it. It's 2025. You'd like some representation in your Super Bowl halftime show. It sounds like what you really want is some diversity, equity, and inclusion when it comes to those performances, right?
In true woke fashion, this was done with no apologies whatsoever.
You keep saying woke. I don't think that word means what you think it means, Rob. In fact, the way you keep using it, I think you mean black.
American culture used to not allow such gratuitous racism.
Crickets.
Now it applauds it, or at least it did.
So this is Super Bowl 59. Obviously, this was not made for you, Rob. But guess what? There were 58 other halftime shows that were. So maybe, just maybe, you can let the people this was made for enjoy it without having to blow on the loudest dog whistle I've ever heard. But when it's all said and done, Kendrick Lamar had 133 million people tuning in to watch his halftime performance, which is about 1 million for every 1,000 that tuned in to watch your silly little rant the other night. You didn't make a single substantive critique of his message, of the performance, of any of it. No. At the end of the day, the big issue, it seems, Rob, you had a problem with the color of their skin, with the performers on stage, and the fact that they were not like us. Well, not like you.
I see
He
why you
summed it
played
up.
that, Juicy.
Yeah. You see, when you have a white man could see what we were seeing, when you have a person outside of our race seeing what we seeing, that's why I go back to when he says not like us. He's not talking about him because he's white, because he get it just like we do. He's talking about the people who's not getting it. So it's no particular race. It's anybody who's not getting it. You're not like us. Mustard.
And you know what? It's
Yeah.
crazy because like certain people like that, not the guy who was clearly making a point on the video, but the other guy, people like that who just live in this little tiny little bubble and they think nothing exists outside of that bubble.
Entitlement.
It's like, really?
Yeah.
And then you want to get upset with the rest of the world when, you know, all these other things are going on around your bubble. Like, no, that's not how that works.
Yeah. It's a big world. And it's
Yeah.
time he opened his eyes and learned to live in it. So, I mean, I totally agree with everything the man said. There was nothing that he said that was incorrect to me. You know, even when he tried to take these little discs, what did he say?
He said a little
Short-
tiny rapper with
Yeah.
bell bottoms on.
Like, you telling me that that's you reporting things accurately and trying to say that there's some discrimination against white people or whatever? No, bro, you're taking shots just like everybody else. So what makes you any better than anybody else for you to try to call people out? That ain't make no sense to me.
So, to the point of, you know, the case that the guy was trying to make about not having enough inclusion and all that kind of stuff, guess what? The Super Bowl is in Black History. And the the culture was represented during Black History Month at the performance.
Yeah.
And guess what? The person who performs in the Super Bowl, that's the headliner, they have a lot of say in how everything is going to be set up.
Jay-Z, I don't want to be putting no rumors out there.
Well, no, Jay-Z, I believe they're over the committee now, pretty much. But I'm just saying that whoever the performer is, they have a lot of say in how they want their performance to be set up and what type of dance. Because they actually brought in the dancers from Oakland.
Yes, I seen that. Yes, that was.
So he brought people all the way from California to actually perform there as the dancers. So again, like there's a clear vision that he had that he wanted to, create and present. And he brought in the people that he felt that were necessary for that. And just because of the fact that they happen to be black or just one color of people,
I like it.
it's like, what difference does that make for one? And then two, guess what? It's Black History Month. So there's only really a month of, Black History Month that we have. I mean, naturally we can celebrate it whenever, but I mean,
we get recognized.
Yeah, that we
I'm
really
recognizing.
Yeah. So
and
what's
for
the
people
issue
who say-
with us taking pride in that?
Yeah. And then my thing is like those who have an issue with us having a month, I find that very interesting because for people to pretend like we're at a point in our society where nobody needs a month because we're all being recognized and we're all equal, that is false. I mean, just look around. Let's be for real. Are we at the point where we as a society can say we don't see color anymore? We're all getting recognized. We're all getting treated fairly. I don't think we're there yet. Can we get there through work and advocacy and all those things? Sure. But we're not there yet. Maybe in a couple 100 years, then maybe we can take away all these months that we give to everybody. But as of right now, if we're talking about right now, absolutely not.
One thing I would like to say is it is a really crazy time that we're living in where the information age and it's just so many opinions, that people are just putting out there now, but the thing is, they're going to tell you exactly who they are. They're going to show you who they are now. It's like you really can't hide, who you are as much as it used to be. It used to get swept under the rug and stuff like that, but now it's like in your face and you really can see who people are. So just whenever somebody show you who they are, just believe them.
Make it face value. Especially with the social media. People just bold now. They just get on there and just say stuff that's just like, wow, did they have that moment and put it on social media? But I'm going to say this. Some people might agree and some people might not. But going back to what Shawn said about can you not go past race? Honestly, the reason why I'm just so in tune with Kendrick Lamar because we get the month after year with only 28 days. That speaks for itself. You're showing us face value. So you give us the month out the year with only 28 days. And honestly, do I feel like we need to have Black History Month? I don't. Because every day we're Black. Every day we dealing with history.
Make history.
Because it ain't no white. No white.
White
History Month.
Or,
So,
Oriental History Month. None of that.
And this is how I take that. So you give us a month out the year that has the lowest days of that month. And you say this is Black history for us to represent us. The reason why y'all don't have a white month, because y'all feel like y'all entitled for the whole rest of the year. That's how I'm thinking about, okay, let's give them a month to make them feel special. So do I feel like we need to have Black History Month? No. I feel like we need to be equal just like y'all. We don't need a month because we live in Black every day. We don't need a month to be reminded of who we are. We don't need a month for you to say, oh, y'all can be Black now. So y'all don't give the white folks a month. So I don't feel like we need to have a month. I feel like we need to celebrate every day, the whole year, just like anybody else.
Y'all can take the money, I'll take reparations.
There you go. But when Kendrick Lamar did his thing in this month with 28 days, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I'll say that and when they put us in history books, right? When they put Black Americans who have given to this country, who have helped build this country in the history books that we teach our kids every day, when I see us reflected and all of the people who contributed to this country reflected in everything that we're teaching these young people in curriculums in schools, then we can get rid of the month. The reason that I don't want to get rid of the month as of yet is because I need to see that everybody is being included, right? So if you go to a school, right, you open the book and you still see page after page after page after page of white men who did this and that and this and that and their history and all this stuff. But where are the black inventors? Where are the black people that helped start up a lot of these things? Where is their credit? Where are the names of the actual slaves that were used for, these labors and all this stuff, all this free stuff that helped build this country?
Yep.
When I see us in history books, when I see us in school curriculums, when I see us reflected on magazines and billboards and all that type of stuff like everybody else, and when we truly feel like we're in an equal society, then you can start getting rid of Black History Month. Then you can get rid of Native American History Month. Then you can get rid of all this specific Islander History Month and all this stuff. Until then, no, we're not equal yet.
And
Put us in the books.
I agree with you on that totally. Like, for one, obviously, yes, a lot of, like you said, with Black history, people not getting their credit, so on and so forth with that, and it being taken out of history books and things. So I definitely agree with that. But I mean, it goes for any race, any culture. It's like, if this is how things came to be, and this is what really happened, then let's talk about it and have it there so that, we know what really happened, so we don't repeat these things. Because if we're really trying to progress and become better people and a better, as a culture, as a nation or whatever, then we need to have those things there. It's not so we can bash people. It's so that we can make sure that this is how they thought. We definitely don't want to think like that anymore and move forward, And part of the problem is that, it's in people's nature for whatever reason to want to be dismissive of things. It's like, I know that was such and such, but that doesn't really have anything to do with this. Yes, it does. It really does, because that generation affects this generation, and that generation affects this generation. And if you never, for one, if you never really, have acceptance of these things happen, and how do I not repeat the same thing, then that's going to carry on to the next generation. And then if you erase things or try to, make it PG instead of actually, what it naturally was, whether that be like something that, really terrible that happened, or, a good situation where somebody invented something, right? Both of those things need to exist in the history.
All of it in there. You should open a history book and be able to see so many different races in there they all be considered American people that contributed to American society.
And see, with me, the reason why I have a problem with Black History Month, because it's like it's being custom for our children that's in school to recognize who they are during that 1 month. Why couldn't they be taught to know who they are throughout the whole year? And so that's why I'm like, I'm not really in tune with Black History Month, because this is how I feel. You didn't even give Martin Luther King his birthday on his right date. If you want to give him a birthday, give it to him in Black History Month. You didn't give it to him on the right day in January. So it's like they put everything on. We have to deal with what they decide. And I feel like we need to teach our kids, this just don't happen once a year where you are recognized who you are as an African American. This need to be taught throughout the whole year. Just like I made a statement a couple of weeks ago to these youth. Y'all need to know y'all history, not what is being taught to you in the school today, not what they want you to know. You need to know your history.
Right.
Yep.
Because if you know your history, you wouldn't be so quick to take another person's life that looks like you if you actually know where you come from.
Fight one another.
History.
Right.
Like me, do I date outside my race? No, not because I don't like anybody outside my race. I just know my history. I know where my Black men came from. I know where my Black men has dealt with to get where they are today. I'm not going to badmouth another race, because that's why I don't choose to deal with them. I just don't choose to date outside my race because I know my history, the true history of where I come from.
And piggybacking off of you, Juicy, because that was powerful. And also you, Trey. Because Trey was like, trying to figure out why some people are just so narrow-minded when it comes to that and so dismissive. I feel like it all comes back down to like the money, part of things. How you were saying, in the Super Bowl halftime show, Kendrick Lamar, he came out with the Squid Games kind of thing, and you broke down like what the Squid Games is about, and this is just about control.
Yeah.
And the people with money have that agenda. It's like, not that they being dismissive, because if they wasn't, then that would open up a whole Pandora's box
Yeah.
that they would have to go down. So I feel like it's definitely like intended.
Yeah.
Not just like some dismissive or like, nah, y'all, you kind of know why you don't want to open that box or why you don't want to make these curriculums, year round, because that would really have our youth's minds really
It would
woke.
bring a lot of things that they've taught already into question.
Yeah.
And these young people would be smart enough to start asking those questions. And it would rewrite history for what it really is. And that's
Unlock
not
their
what they want.
minds.
Absolutely. Like you have the youth, I just started me and my brother just started a youth church
Mm-hmm.
in low income, high crime areas. And so when you have youth say, well, Miss Juicy, the world is not what the Bible speaks on. These kids are asking questions like they're learning stuff in the Bible, but they're not seeing what the Bible is speaking in the world.
Mm.
When God in the Bible say he did this and this and this and that, and then they were like, well, Miss Juicy, it says this, but my mama or my dad, these kids have a right to ask questions. We got to stop putting on what we want them to know. So now, when they get old enough to, like you said, can open up books or go back and do their history, they have a right to ask these questions. And they're going to start asking them. And I feel like if our youth, and I'm talking about our Black youth, because our crime rates are so high, actually knew their history, got taught the history that they need to know, our crime rate will actually come down.
Right.
Because they really don't know where they come from. They only know what is being taught. And it's not much being taught in school now, except for what? This is Black History Month. We're going to throw a little bit of stuff to you. Doom. Then guess what? They don't think about it no more.
A couple art projects to put on the wall.
Right.
That part.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, but I definitely learned a lot more about the history of, our people, like not even in school. I had to get those books, and go to not just the library. It was just other, book spots that the library didn't even have, these kind of books. And I was just like, just eye open to see, where we come from and how we just evolved and was treated and how we overcame, and just knowing that whole story just changes your whole outlook and perspective on who we are. And I feel like you said, if everybody had that kind of outlook, it would be a totally different ball game. So, and it would do a lot more to change what's going on.
Kids now go to their grandmother's house. They got a bathroom, right? When I used to go see my great grandmother, I learned how to cook. They didn't have a bathroom. I had to go to an outhouse.
Mm.
And I remember my great great grandmother telling me, baby, people going to dislike you. Not for you as a good person, but the color of your skin. When I used to go to my grandmother's house in the country, they were still picking cotton. See, these kids don't know about what cotton is. They don't know about going to an outhouse to use the bathroom, and they definitely don't know about no chicken water. I used to cry, Grandma, I don't want that water. She used to have to boil water for me because it had stuff in it because they were getting it from the well.
Yeah.
These kids don't know about stuff like that. They know about bottled water. They don't know about our history.
So, it's weird that you speak of that because I was just talking about, well, I don't know if it's my dad or somebody else I was talking with here recently, but you think about it though, there's only a few generations between, like times when y'all were dealing with that stuff, whether it be, like you said, it was your grandparents or your parents or whatever. Because like my dad, he grew up, they still had a dirt road, right? And you think about it, it's like, okay, he's in his 60s, so that's not that far off. It's not that long ago. And you think about now what the kids see, all this technology and everything's like got all this structure to it, and you got all, internet is up, and like it's just everything's so fluid right now. And it's hard, I guess it's hard for them to imagine, that it could have even been like that, or and unfortunately, that was one thing I was going to say earlier too when you were talking about the social media stuff. Is that it's an unfortunate thing because technology really is very beneficial, but it's also an Achilles heel in a lot of ways.
Man.
Like it's it's right there at your fingertips where you can just access everything. But the problem with that is anybody can put out anything. So now it makes it harder to find out what's real and what's not.
XAI.
Yeah. So, yeah. I know when I was growing up, though, just going back to your point with the outhouse and all that kind of stuff, like I didn't get to experience that, but I at least got to hear about some of the things, right? And then I got to see the tail end of some things, and so I understand, like, yeah, it really does come back to a mindset thing, like what you instill in people, and the fundamentals and just not just critical thing, but common sense type stuff, and even going back to what you were saying about wanting to know more and just being hungry for knowledge. So
Because that really helped me out when it comes to, I do music, I got my own entertainment company, but all of that also kind of stemmed from me having that hunger for knowledge, and knowing like, oh, it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be people that like me doing what I'm doing, even though it's a positive thing, just because of certain, traits I may have that's different. So just reading and seeing like, oh, we invented just about everything. It's like, okay, let me create a business where I'm, doing what I'm doing and actually, brand myself before somebody else, end up branding me or something. Or, I'm up here just giving my whole talent to this job or this brand, like, nah, let me brand myself, also just basically just speaking positivity, like um not really feeding into, like you said, like the violence and things like that. And in the music, how certain artists just aren't as responsible, just because in my words, I or in my music, I really are intentional when it comes to like the words that I use, because I know, like you said, where we come from, and um just how we was kind of taken advantage of in a way when it comes to that. So now it's like, all right, and it's people that recognize that. And when people recognize that, that just means that much more.
And see, by you saying that, that's what goes back to the halftime Super Bowl. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. We finally had something positive. We didn't have nobody's skin showing. Remember the one with which one was it with Janet Jackson when he
the
pulled
nipple
her
came
thing?
out.
Oh Lord, it's children watching this and she showed her boob. We finally have something that fully covered, no cursing, no violence, and nothing. And guess what? It was the worst Super Bowl ever. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Are you kidding me? And as individuals, we need to stand up and stop being followers and stand up on what we believe. That was one of the best Super Bowl shows I ever seen in my life. Don't care who don't like it. It was. No violence. No degrading our black men or black women. I'm calling it as I see it.
Call it out.
Showing what the black man went through. Showing the American flag built of a black man. America was built on black men's backs. Showing how we was divided and we need to come together. So you're going to tell me, explain to me, one of y'all please explain to me how that was the worst Super Bowl when we had positivity and all that. Why? Because y'all didn't hear somebody downgrading black women? Why? Because y'all didn't hear somebody downgrading black men? Or why? Because somebody wasn't up there with their pants hanging down to their knees? Why? Because they wasn't jumping around like a monkey? I'm just gonna call it like I see it.
Yeah.
So we finally have some positivity, and y'all want to put into these young folks' mind that was wrong. Explain. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was wrong. And you have, like, get back to Trey. You have some of our own people saying it was terrible. I didn't like it.
Yeah. But again, that goes back to what you said about, like, what are you watching for, right? Because if it's not what you wanted, then you probably weren't going to see the message, or you probably weren't going to enjoy it. Like for me, for example, I wasn't quote unquote entertained But I clearly saw the messages there, and I looked at it like a as if I was in a theater. Like, and when I say theater, not a movie theater, I'm talking about like an actual theater where you would go see a play, and that's what it was. It was a body of work, and like art, and so that's how I was viewing it as I was watching it, and I didn't catch everything the first time through. I had to go back and watch it again, but again, when it comes down to actually like just the individual, right? If you're narrow minded, you're gonna be narrow minded. You're not gonna see the things outside of that until you wanna open up your mind and see those things. If you want to just be entertained, then that wasn't for you. You probably weren't gonna enjoy it, but you could still show some appreciation for what it represented, right? But if again, where's your mindset? And even right now, to if you don't understand, that's okay.
Absolutely.
That's okay. Like
Absolutely.
that's when you
Yeah.
learn things,
They're
right?
just not like us.
We don't live in a society of deep thinkers anymore. So that's what it was. The performance wasn't just for entertainment for you to just be happy and be like, oh, this is fun.
Wobble up,
We
wobble,
need
wobble up.
deep thought sometimes, and we don't value performances that provide deep thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about art is art imitates life.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
that's when you get the best work of art or the best pieces of art. And I did have, a coworker, an older, Caucasian, male, basically was just kind of like,
A prune.
I hated that performance, man. Like I couldn't hear anything, or
It wasn't for you.
this and that. I was like, dang, he is really ranting to me about how much he don't like this performance.
And we didn't like what y'all did at the Capitol.
and
Mm.
and to, well, that's definitely a deeper.
That's a
That's
whole
another
story,
can of
boy.
worms right there.
Okay.
But to me, it just seemed like a shut up and dribble moment.
Just say
Yeah.
that. Well, we didn't
You
like what
know-
y'all did at the Capitol.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but basically, we about to wrap this thing up. I know it's already been over an hour, and I feel like we could go for 2 more hours.
Oh, yeah.
Just off of
We ain't even getting to the Drake beef, but it's all good.
right.
Yeah.
But before we go, Kendrick Lamar, my birthday is May 31st. I need a pair of them jeans, baby. I need a pair of them. Just tell me where I can get a pair of them bell-bottom jeans. I need a pair. I need them in my life. I need them so I can wobble up.
Hey. And I also want to shout out Iceberg
Yeah.
behind the camera, and also LA Brim. He putting in that work, and yeah, man, we about to bring y'all so many episodes of this juicy, real content.
Mm-hmm.
So, anybody else have anything to say?
Just definitely don't forget to like and subscribe and share. For
Facts.
sure.
Big on the share.
Yes.
Subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to bring
All
you
that.
more content. And y'all, we're going to be having prizes later on throughout the year. So y'all make sure y'all subscribe.
Tune in. Yes.
Talk about it.
Yep.
That's right.
You definitely want to subscribe because, like you said, we'll have some things going on later on in the year and engage with us too. If you want
That's
to.
subscribers only.
Yep.
Not no pickaboos.
And make sure y'all comment and tell us what y'all like the best, which topics, and if y'all have something to get off y'all chest that y'all want us to respond to. We're definitely open to that as well. 'Cause this is open conversation, real conversation. And with no further ado, we'll see y'all next time. Peace.